Declan Rice is the center of focus today. We're definitely talking about Declan Rice and his Arsenal transfer. What is going on? What is the latest going on in the Arsenal camp when we talk about Declan Rice? Hello, everyone. Thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter. With me, your host, Abu Kaus, as we are more than dedicated to bring to you the latest right about here at the Arsenal chapter, talking about sports, talking about transfers, who's going where, and who is remaining at the club, not forgetting who is the club buying. So you definitely know that the transfer season is definitely here, and we are focused on a few things. We're focusing on a few things, trying to see how possible, how many football players are going to be joining the club Arsenal, and what is the impact of these football players joining the club Arsenal. As you already know, that Arsenal is very much in this summer transfer window, and Arsenal is trying to make sure that they can get as good players as they can. Anyway, we're going to be focusing on Declan Rice, who is a very wonderful football player, a very good defensive midfielder, and Arsenal has been looking at defensive midfielders, trying to see which defensive midfielders Arsenal can definitely have this time. But mainly what Arsenal is looking at is just one defensive midfielder. It will be remembered that the last season Arsenal was looking at, no, the last season actually. Anyway, in the summer transfer window, Arsenal had Jakub Kiwior, who is a defensive midfielder somewhat, and here comes in the defensive midfield sometimes when it's needed. But generally, what Arsenal has on display right about now is Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka, and Albert Samuel Konga. Those are the three defensive midfielders, and for some reason, Mikel Arteta is not so content with these three. They are good football players. Everybody agrees to that. They are great football players, but definitely it looks like this gentleman Mikel Arteta is not so much impressed, and that's why he definitely wants to bring in Declan Rice. It will be remembered that Declan Rice now has quite a lot of competition on him, but the latest coming in is that Declan Rice has got competition for him from Arsenal, has competition from Manchester United, and that isn't the best of news for Arsenal fans, because what West Ham have come up and put as a price tag for this gentleman is £120 million. That's quite a lot of money, isn't it? £120 million for Declan Rice. At this point in time, should we think that Arsenal could be backing off the football player? Because Arsenal, I don't remember Arsenal last paying that amount of money, £120 million. That could be a big figure for Arsenal, and it will be remembered that before, even when football players have wanted to play for the club so bad, if they are expensive, if they come out to be very expensive for the club, definitely the club does not go for them. It will be remembered that one of the examples I can give you is Mikhail Mudryk. In the general transfer window, Mikhail Mudryk was priced at £100 million, and that's what his former club, Shakhtar Donetsk, definitely wanted, £100 million, and it came out that £100 million was quite a lot of money for Arsenal to pay for a football player, and I'm not so sure about whether he will come and impress. So the technical director of Arsenal, Mr. Edu Gaspar, came out and was like, we're not paying this insane amount of money. So it didn't go on quite well, I must say. It didn't go on quite well. In the club that had the money, and it was actually not about having the money, but the club that was willing to spend the money. The club that was willing to spend the money was Chelsea. They had to hijack Mikhail Mudryk at the last moment. So we're going to be seeing, are there things that are going to be happening almost the same? Because Arsenal has tried to get okay, like looking at the general transfer window. Arsenal tried its level best to make sure that they can get good football players, but once they spotted the football players, very many clubs definitely went for them, and it didn't go on quite well for the club Arsenal, and Arsenal lost out on these football players, and that's why we'll see the likes of Mikhail Modric not playing for Arsenal but playing for Chelsea was definitely hijacked. So Declan Rice is a very good football player, very wonderful football player, very disciplined, and he's got quite a big number of things that make him an exceptional football player. First of all, his defensive skills are on point. Declan Rice's defensive skills, you know, is a defensive midfield, and anything that happens at the defense section is definitely something that he should always put in consideration, or he has always put in the consideration, because you don't want to mess up anything in the defense. Because a midfielder, anyway, the main objective of a midfield is get the ball from the defense or from the main defenders and push it onto the strikers. And but if you're a defensive midfielder, you're definitely playing a defensive role most of the time. So it will be remembered that this gentleman who plays at the base of the midfield and carries the responsibility of being a link between the defenders and the midfielders definitely has done his job quite well at West Ham, and that's why he's been looked at by many clubs, thinking that if Arsenal take Declan Rice, they're going to be a big step in front, I must say. So we can look at clubs that won Declan Rice, and how possible it's going to be for Arsenal to beat these clubs. So one of the clubs is Manchester United, and that is the main club that is putting a quite big tension on the club Arsenal, saying if you do not sign him, we are definitely signing him. So there is Manchester United. The main competition is between Manchester United and Arsenal, with the 120 million pound that's been placed on this gentleman, and there's a rumor that it could even go up, and if it goes up, I think Arsenal will definitely be out, because I don't remember really. I don't think it's not even about remembering. It's definitely about, is the club willing to pay that amount of money for just one football player? I mean, what Arsenal does is, if 120 million pound for Arsenal could get Arsenal 2 or 3 football players, and that's the honest truth. So that could be a bit complicated if it goes a bit higher. So Manchester United, that's one big competition. Then there is also Chelsea, which is known for hijacking Arsenal football players. Chelsea is also interested in this gentleman, so it could be a bit tricky ambassador for the club. Then also, leaving Chelsea alone, Liverpool also are interested. So that makes 4 big clubs that are interested in Declan Rice. But 120 million pound really could be a bit high for these clubs. But I mean, some of them are willing to pay the amount of money, undoubtedly, because Declan Rice has helped West Ham quite a lot for the position that he was in. Definitely, he's always played quite well, and when you see how he played in the World Cup, definitely he played very, very well. So Arsenal are still the favourites for Declan Rice, but it will be remembered that Manchester United has put in quite a bit of an effort. But also the other thing, if you know who Matteo Gondis is, Matteo Gondis, sometime just a few A few weeks ago, he admitted that he felt powerless as a role in the massive Arsenal transfer emerged then. So Matteo Gondes, who is also a defensive midfielder, was being seen as the perfect replacement for Declan Rice at West Ham. So David Moyes, wants this gentleman, Matteo Gondes, to come and replace uh, Declan Rice. So if West Ham are already looking for a defender, what does a defensive midfielder? What does that definitely mean? That means that they are already willing to let go of Declan Rice. 120. So these are the things that make you really understand whether the football player is leaving or it's just a rumor. So you can see West Ham, the fact that West Ham is already looking for a defensive midfielder and they have already spotted a defensive midfielder. They have spotted Matteo Gondes, who plays as a defensive midfielder for Marseille, and he's broken his silence recently amid reports that he could be heading to West Ham as a replacement for Declan Rice. He also came out and said, I've got nothing to about because West Ham is willing to pay quite a big number, a big amount of money for me. So it definitely is a bit tricky for him. But that gives us the limelight. That definitely shows us that Declan Rice could definitely be heading to another club. But the favorite club is definitely Arsenal. Arsenal are the favorites in this because Arsenal has had such an impression with Declan Rice. They have had such a connection since the last summer transfer window. We thought in the summer transfer window he was definitely linked to Arsenal, and we thought maybe everything would go on quite well for him, and for the club, but it didn't go as planned. That's the whole truth. It didn't go as planned. But in the general transfer window, things got heated up, and we thought it would be possibly there would be a chance of him joining the club Arsenal, but it did not happen. And now we are in the summer transfer window again, or heading to the summer transfer window again, and is being heavily linked to the club Arsenal. And I think Arsenal is at this point in time willing to buy this gentleman because Arsenal wants a bigger squad. Depth is what they have been also looking at, solving the problem of depth. I mean, in the January transfer window, everybody was talking about the depth at Arsenal because there weren't enough options for the club. Mikel Arteta didn't have enough options. And when we talk about options, the football players might be there, but do you have on the bench a football player who's going to come and make a big impact on the game? That's what we are talking about. That is what we definitely were talking about. A football player is going to come, make a big impact, and that did not happen with the club Arsenal. And that's why they have always been looking for depth, trying to solve the depth problem, bring an alternative that is better. But I don't think if Declan Rice comes to Arsenal, he's going to be put on the bench. That is definitely out. That is definitely out. Anyway, so I think one of the reasons as to why I've given you the reasons as to why he definitely is a big hunt, and people have also been asked about which position he plays. I've told he's a defensive midfielder. He's far more effective playing the balls from left to right than he is from the right to the left, and also he's a real force in West Ham's midfield, able to dominate opponents physically and with the ball at his feet, and he is significant. Is a significant part of the reason West Ham have shown such marked signs of improvement under the management of the one and only David Moyes. So let's wait and see what will go on, but things are definitely going on or falling into place for the club Arsenal, as we could be saying that the Declan Rice transfer is underway, and once it's a deal that is done, sealed, and confirmed, we'll be the first people to bring it to you. All you need to do right about now is subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you do not miss out on whatever we've definitely got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related. Right about here, the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kaz, as I tell you thank you and goodbye for now.